Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning LaLa. And on Friday, we love to talk about creating a life we love. And that takes spirituality, it takes intuitive medicine, and Olivia Audrey, she's with us today. You've become an expert in this. Tell us about your journey.
So for me, the journey to self-discovery began at a really young age. So I diagnosed my first case of lung cancer at 3 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was at a baby shower and it just sort of came out of my mouth. And so then from there, pursued medicine, had an experience which I wrote about in my book, my first book, Align, where I actually had a spirit appear to me in the shower. And it was very clearly an individual who was going through cancer treatment. And it said, "Does this look like healing to you?" And before I could even rationalize that, the same voice said, "No, this is dying." And so in that moment, I thought, I've got to do something different. This just does not resonate with my soul in the way that we're treating disease. So I used my intuition and I coupled that with my medical degree in natural medicine. And I began treating people from an emotion-based perspective.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting journey. And also finding out when I was 30 years old, I had an autoimmune illness that was untreatable. And then treating myself through that so that today I am completely free of that autoimmune illness.
So I think that the body intelligence is becoming more and more well known in the world, and people recognize that there's an intelligence that's speaking through intuitively. So how can somebody tap into that intuition? How can they know what's going on for themselves?
Well, what I tell everyone that I work with, whether it's recreating themselves after a divorce, a disease, or a trauma, is that you are your own best source of information, period. So you can go to a physician, you can go to a counselor, and these are all really great tools, but ultimately nothing trumps the inner intuitive wisdom that we all have. And so for me, when I teach my workshops on developing your intuition and my classes, what I tell people is that it's really less about doing something and more about doing nothing. It's really about peeling back the layers and returning to that 0 point of positivity within ourselves. Because there is a voice, it's just about quieting the outside world.
It's such a great point, and I love the 0 point of positivity.
Yeah.
And I think part of the challenge for most people is that we mistake intuition for fear, or fear for intuition. And so how can a person sort of discern the difference, when they're trying to practice this nothingness, this no mind or no thought sort of experience of 0 point positivity? How can they discern the difference? Is it a feeling thing? Is it a thinking thing? Is it something different?
Well, there's a couple of rules that you can live by. So the first is that, I never teach people in meditation when I do meditation workshops that it's about having no thought. It's about having an awareness of your thoughts, because we're human and we're always going to be having a sensory experience. The room is hot, the room is cold, and we want to move ourselves as far as we can away from that. But ultimately, we're existing in this reality. So just being aware of them. And if a thought that, oh my gosh, did I feed the cat, comes in, that's not going to be the focus of your meditation, but you can sort of just notice it and then move it along. The other tool that I really give my clients is that I encourage them to uncover what their narrative is. So we all have this personal story in our lives. Most of us are far more familiar with the negative narrative, meaning I know what I don't want. And we think that that's a really powerful tool for creating our life, when actually the opposite is true. So if you can identify the narrative that you are sending out to the universe, which is essentially what you're asking for, then you can look at that and have a really honest conversation with yourself about, am I focused more on what I don't want? I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be single. I don't want to be, fat. Yeah, exactly. Or can I shift that focus to, I want to be abundant, I want to be healthy, or even better, I am healthy, I am abundant, because whatever we communicate to the universe will be so.
Powerful. Tell us about your tattoo. I see destiny.
Yeah.
inside of
Yeah,
this.
so this is a really interesting tattoo. So this I got really early on, and I have a few of them. And I've often gotten, you know, when I'm doing a presentation and midway through I take off my blazer, I actually have an arm sleeve as well, and they go, "We were not expecting that in this presentation." So the destiny tattoo is really just a reminder for me that every time I look down at my hand, that I'm creating my own destiny, and that I'm helping to create the destiny of others. So fate is what you're given, and destiny is how you shape it. Yeah, so that's just my constant reminder. And then I have some Tibetan Sanskrit that says Satchitananda, which means truth is the pathway to consciousness, is the pathway to bliss.
Wow. And using that pathway, you've also created an apothecary.
Yeah,
Tell us about it.
absolutely. So as I was going around and talking about intuitive medicine, which is something that's become such a big thing, and thanks to people like Anthony Williams, medical medium, he's really put on the forefront how can we shift our bodies, not by reading textbooks, by just listening to what is presenting and sort of listening to what the spirit is trying to guide us to. And so I decided that I wanted to really have a hand in being able to give people the best supplements possible. So I created my brand, which is Innate Apothecary. And essentially what that is it's all products that I've handpicked that I use for people that I work with, that I use on my own children. And I think that there's been a lot of confusion in natural health supplements. Is this turmeric okay? Is this probiotic better? And so on my Instagram weekly, I do a segment called Live Better. And basically I highlight a product and I talk about how it can benefit you in 5 minutes or less, because I want people to get the information and be able to apply it in their life.
Love that. Well, great work. Obviously, I think that the merging of the Western world and the Eastern medicines coming together where we can really have the best system around. So thank you so much for all your work. So tell people where they can find and follow you and get your products.
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is www.innateapothecary.com. You can find me on Instagram at I am Olivia Audrey and on Facebook at Olivia Audrey Dr. Liv.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you
We'll be
so
right
much
back
for
with more
having
Good
me.
Morning, La La Land.